You can easily update certain kinds of data without using formulas at all. In this worksheet called No Formulas, in columns A through F, we see data for projection data for various states over the next 12 months. And let's imagine that whoever came up with these values used some kind of an index. They used maybe a hand calculator. And you realize, or this person has told you perhaps, that these numbers are all off by 10. You don't know what the original data had been. You simply want to make all of these bigger by 10. Well, without formulas, let's just put a 10 in a cell nearby. We'll later erase this. We'll put a 10 here and simply copy it. Right-click copy, Control-C, whatever. Highlight the data in question. Then right-click Paste Special and choose in the Paste Special dialog box, Add. Double-clicking it makes it slightly faster. Keep an eye on one or two of the numbers, but all of them are about to be incremented by 10. Just like that. We can get rid of that 10, just click it and press delete. We don't need it anymore. These cells do not have formulas in them. So if you need a paper trail, this particular set of actions doesn't help. But if you don't, it simply incremented all the values by 10. And as you saw in that dialog box, we also had other kinds of arithmetic applications as well. We could have subtracted. If we change our minds about this and maybe something else occurs so it's too late to do an undo, we could easily select this data, copy a 10 out of a cell, and do a subtract to take them back what they had been. But after a certain point in time, however, you would not remember what the data had been. So this certainly has its merits. Another variation on this might be a situation over here in column W, where maybe you just want to change all the salaries here. We're going to adjust all the salaries by 1,000, simply add 1,000 to them. So what are we going to do here? Just put 1,000 into an empty cell somewhere. Let's just copy this 1,000, right-click copy. We're going to select all this data here. This time we'll do it a different way. Shift Control down arrow. Select all that data, right-click, Paste Special. Paste Special. We'll simply add. Double-click. There we go. All those numbers are bigger by 1,000. Fast and easy. Now, how about a totally different kind of scenario? Here's a list of data. As just unrelated to that first list that we saw. Maybe this represents the actual 2010 values, and maybe this is a copy of something you have either on another worksheet or in a portion of this. You'd like to experiment with these numbers and show how they might project into, say, 2011. And you want to show the 2011 numbers as being 10% bigger, 12% bigger, whatever. So if you're thinking about the math here, you could imagine multiplying these by 1.1 if you want to make this be 10% bigger. Or if you wanted them all to be 5% bigger, you'd multiply them by 1.05. So either do the math in your head or on paper, but let's say we want to multiply all of these by 1.1 to show how they will look if they are 10% bigger. So I'm going to put 1.1 into an empty cell. We will, of course, have decimals involved here. We might need to make some adjustments to the formatting of this. The ones you could do in your head would be the ones, for example, like this 32, we're going to add 10%. So that's going to go up by 32. That'll go to 352. So, keep your eye on one or two of them that you know for sure what the answer should be. So we're going to copy the 1.1 as we did before. Highlight the data in question, right-click Paste Special, and simply multiply. And we see what's happening. Now, the decimals are there. We probably would want to show them, but there's that entry that adjusted here. These are 10% bigger than they had been. So by choosing the comma button in the number group on the Home tab, probably the fastest way to do it. You probably don't need two decimals here. We'll decrease those, readjust the column widths, and so on. Main point, though, is we adjusted all these. These are all 10% bigger than they had been because we multiplied everything by this value here. We don't need this anymore. Once again, as in the previous example, though, if you somehow need a paper trail, this is not the feature for you. But if you need to make quick adjustments to data by changing them in a consistent way, figure out what that multiplier is, what that divisor is, what the addend is going to be, and so on, and then simply use this technique with Paste Special to increment or change all the values at once.